Chapters 34 and 35 were incredible. They deserved a standing ovation. Because I'm just influenced by Barbie right now. I am in my Barbie era and no one can stop me. But it's been a long time since I've just had a really good grumpy sunshine dynamic. I'm so happy that I did not DNF this book. The fact that we're getting 2 balls in this book, that sounded funny. I'm sorry, I'm literally 5 years old. Hello, my gorgeous reading angel bestie queens. I hope that you're having the most wonderful day of your entire stinking life. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am in such a mood to read. Jamo wanted to say hi as well. Last week, I ended up reading a bunch of sports romance books, which was such a fun time. But after I finished my last sports romance, I was like, take me back to romantasy. That's where my heart is. That's all I want to read right now. I'm not gonna set a TBR for this video right up front. We're kind of gonna mood read and just pick up whatever calls to us. We'll talk about the first book that I'm reading in just a moment, but I hope that you're excited. If you are, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and let's talk about Fear the Flames. Okay, so this is our August book club pick for the Who Did This To You book club. That is a fantasy romance book club that I host, and it is on Fable. It's always linked in the description box below if you would like to join us. This is our first book that we're reading together. It is a fantasy romance that's on Kindle Unlimited. I'm only 26 pages into it so far. I've read up to chapter 4, but I plan on devouring this weekend. Our main character is Elowyn. I'm not gonna lie, right off the bat is giving Aelin vibes from Throne of Glass. She found out at a very young age that she is connected in some way. She has like a bond with 5 dragons. But her dad saw this, her dad the king, saw this as a threat and basically started to treat her very differently, imprisoned her in her own home because he was really worried that she's so powerful that she was going to usurp him. And so she ended up running away from home, and now she's in like this separate hidden kingdom. No one knows that she's still alive. We got to meet Caden, who I think is going to be our hero in this book. Hero as in like male love interest. Commander Caden Bellis of Veraveth. He is a commander of an army.
Goes without saying, but I said it anyways.
His kingdom is an enemy kingdom to her father. So the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's kind of the dynamic that I'm getting. I just think it's gonna be so fun. So those are my first impressions from the first 26 pages. I have been rambling on for like 5 minutes now. So obviously strong start. I can't wait to dig in a little bit more to this, and I will catch up with y'all once I do. Friends, I am on page 262 of Fear the Flames. Reading this has been really fun. The more I read it, the more into it I'm getting. I'm not sure I'm the biggest fan of the writing style. I'm really enjoying the plot. I love the setup. I love who the characters are. I really love the friend group that we've kind of met with this introduction to Caden and his, almost like Caden's inner circle. What I mean about the writing style is that there are these elements that are being woven into the story. They're just there to help with the relatability of our main character Elowyn to the reader. So, for example, she brings up a lot that she's like a caffeine addict and she loves coffee, she loves reading romance books, and it just feels a bit out of place. One of her biggest stresses is that she wants to provide for these people who really depend on her, especially with food. Getting through the winter months in their very isolated, secret safe haven, food can be really difficult. And yet, they have an unlimited supply of coffee, enough that she can be like addicted to coffee. I'd prefer to grow to love our main character through the means of the story. I don't really need those little relational pieces. Besides that, besides the writing feeling a little bit like amateur, the plot is strong. Also, the relationship I'm really, really loving. I love Caden. I think he does come on very strong very quickly. It felt like we moved through the beginning of this book and their, you know, like begrudging alliance, which I absolutely love. I love the begrudging alliance trope, but it felt like immediately these two started trusting each other, where I felt that there should have been a bit more distrust to begin with. And immediately when he starts calling her Angel, which is like her pet name that he has for her, that to me felt like he was already in love with her. And that happens in like chapter 3. So I was like, okay, this is all happening very quickly. I need to like get my bearings. He is very standoffish to everyone else. He puts up like, you know, a hard exterior when in reality he's a cinnamon roll. He really wants to take care of Elowen, and I just love that dynamic. And she's someone who struggles with asking for help from other people, which I can relate to. So I feel like Elowen has a lot of qualities that I can really relate to. The anxiety representation in this book so far has been accurate. She has even some PTSD symptoms. Symptoms doesn't feel like the right word, but she has some PTSD reactions. I love those. I think that those pieces are so relatable that, again, it just makes me question, like, why did we need these other random, more modern, like, relatable elements thrown in here, when really I feel like she's a strong enough character on her own. I like her just fine. Good morning, besties. I am just getting ready for the day, and I figured we could do a little bit of a catch up, both reading and then just like an emotional touch base, because I've just been feeling really weird lately. And because of that, I've just gotten to a weird place with my reading as well. It's kind of a pick-me-up day because I think that I need it, and I no longer want to be in this mental space. I don't want to be giving these thoughts room to grow and like fester and just be annoying. Like, I feel myself thinking these negative thoughts, and I'm like, I've had enough of this. We're not doing this anymore. I'm going to clean today. This past weekend, I've really struggled with just doing basic daily tasks. That's how I know I'm getting into a bad mental space, because for me, when doing the dishes and making the bed and making food for myself start becoming things where I'm like, I don't want to do this, so I'm just not going to. I know for me, that's like, okay, we need to fix this. So today we're going to listen to the audiobook that I'm currently listening to, that I'll tell you about in a second. I'm going to listen to my audiobook. I'm going to wash my bedding. I'm going to vacuum. I'm going to do the dishes. I'm going to light a candle. I'm going to make the house into a really cozy, happy space. That's what I want to do. I'm going to water the plants. I'm going to repot my snake plant. Today, I also want to make a journal spread in my reading journal, kind of like organizing my content a little bit more. I have been listening to The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. I'm at the halfway point, so I'm hoping to finish it today. Last month I was reading a lot of witchy fantasy romance books, like The Kiss Curse and To Hunt a Demon King and stuff like that, so I thought that The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches would just continue on with that. I don't know if I'm liking it, which is really sad because a lot of my friends have read it and really liked it. This book is an all vibes, no plot type of book. I think I'm struggling with how little plot there is. Our main character, her name is Mika Moon, and she is a real life witch. Witches have to remain hidden in this world, because if witches like live together, band together, hang out a lot together, magic can become very erratic, and obviously they're trying to hide their witchiness from the general public, because if humans know about witches, they're gonna do crazy, not so great things. Mika Moon gets recruited, in a sense, to come to this household where there are 3 young witches. The 3 young witches guardians, who, they're not witches, but they know about magic, and for whatever reason, for these individuals, that's okay. But their guardians are having a really hard time because the 3 little girls' magic is super erratic. There's outbursts all the time, and they hire Mika to help them control They're magic. It's really cute. The three little girls are so funny and they're absolutely adorable. There seems to be this grumpy character. His name is Jamie, and we're just starting to learn his backstory. He takes care of the library, and to my understanding, he's kind of like a handyman type role in this household. So Jamie's kind of this grumpy. Mika is very sunshine, and it seems like there's a romance developing there, but it has been very, very slow, and the fact that that's still like a question mark, if there even is a romance between the two once we're at the halfway point, hopefully that speaks to how slow this plot is. I'm not overly invested in any of the characters, but I don't want to DNF it because I feel like I've been DNFing a lot of books recently, and I want to try to finish more books that I start, but I don't know if that's like a positive or negative thing. I don't know how I'm feeling about it, but I need an audiobook for today for all of the activities that I want to get done, so I'm going to continue listening to it. I guess I can do a little update for Fear the Flames as well, so I won't get into a lot of details because no spoilers, but the letters that Elowen and Caden were writing back and forth to each other, I was like, oh my gosh, yes. I love a letter moment so much, especially after reading Divine Rivals so recently. I'm like, give me the letters. Also, the whole brothel scene, exquisite, absolutely exquisite. And then the chapter after that, chapters 34 and 35 were incredible. They deserved a standing ovation. Hello, it is a little while later. Apologies if you can hear the dryer running in the background, but I feel so much better than I did this morning. We got a lot done today. It was very productive. I did laundry, I vacuumed, I did dishes, I cleaned, I repotted my snake plant. I did also, I'm not gonna like super show this because it has some like content plans in it and stuff, but I did create a spread that I really like, and I had to do a monochromatic like all pink spread because I'm just influenced by Barbie right now. I am in my Barbie era and no one can stop me. And I wanted to give an update on the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I think that's the title. It might not be though. I'm now 75% of the way through, so I've listened to another about 25%. I think I only have maybe 45 minutes left in the book, so I'm going to continue listening to it very shortly. I'm happy that I did not DNF it. We're starting to get much more into the romance part of the book. It's been a while, I think, since I've read A Grumpy Sunshine. I've been so focused on like rivals to lovers, always focused on enemies to lovers. Reluctant allies has been a trope that I've been reading a lot from recently. But it's been a long time since I've just had a really good grumpy sunshine dynamic. I also really like how this book, particularly with Mika, in trying to find her identity, Mika throughout her entire life has found her value and has found her worth towards other people or like with other people in what she can offer them. And so she's starting to come to terms, or I guess like realize, that she can be loved unconditionally regardless of what she can do or provide or teach to someone else. And that's just such a beautiful lesson. I'm so happy that I did not DNF this book. I think this exercise is proving to myself that I need to sometimes push through a book, even if I'm not enjoying it 30% of the way through, 50% of the way through. it might still be worth it for that like second half. Learning some new things. I'm doing some stuff on my phone in terms of like photo editing, so I'm going to listen while I'm continuing to do that. Later tonight, I'm hoping to return to Fear the Flames. I left off at a really juicy part, so I can't wait to get back to it. It's just that today, with all the activities that I've been doing and the things that I wanted to get done, it didn't give me an opportunity to sit down and read. Final thoughts on The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. It was very sweet. It was charming. I loved the audiobook, especially because the accents were so well done, especially for Jamie with his Irish accent. It was honestly perfection. And so thinking through like the tropes for this book, besides Grumpy Sunshine, like I mentioned, Jamie kind of gives single dad vibes. Those children were his children, even though they weren't, if that makes any sense. Like, they were adopted children, sort of, but like, he loved them. They were like his purpose. This book is the absolute embodiment of found family trope. If you love a found family trope, if you love a found family trope, you will love this book. It was the most found family that I think I've ever read. I want to give it a 3.5 because of the beginning and how like not into it I was. It was such a slow burn and just slow pace. Like, romance was definitely slow burn, but it was also just overall a very slow paced book. But the second half really came through for me. And so I think I'm gonna feel bad if I give it a 3.5. I think it needs to be a 4-star, anything like a 3.75, but I feel like that's really nitpicky. So I guess we'll just round up and we'll call it a 4-star. I have some exciting news. First, if you are a lo-fi girly, like myself, that loves to read to lo-fi, finding medieval lo-fi has been a game changer, especially when I'm reading fantasy romance that takes place in kind of that old-timey time period. It's never fully defined, but it's not a modern fantasy. Reading to medieval lo-fi beats, immaculate vibes. But I have just found Game of Thrones lo-fi beats, and it just like mixes it up. So I have been reading Fear the Flames to my Game of Thrones and medieval lo-fi, which has been wonderful. I read another 100 pages last night. I also went through and I added some tabs to the book. I needed to underline certain phrases. There were certain parts of the book, especially the spicy scenes, but also just specific banter quotes that I was like, when I write my review of this, I need to be able to flip back through and identify these absolutely stunning moments in this book. And I can't wait to see how it ends. I feel like that's gonna have a big impact on how I rate the book. Right now it's feeling like a solid 4-star, but we'll see. I feel like the writing has continued to get better and better. The fact that we're getting 2 balls in this book, that sounded funny. Balls as in like, I'm sorry, I'm literally 5 years old. Balls as in like medieval parties that they would throw. Like, this one's gonna be a masquerade ball. I'm excited for the heist part of this book. I also think that the friendship banter, I don't know, can you only describe like love interests as bantery? Because I feel like there's a lot of good playful, bantery, teasing dialogue between the friend group as a whole. I'm a sucker for a good friend group. I think one of the, and I'm hesitant to call it an issue, but for lack of a better word, one of the issues that I'm having with the book is that it just seems very repetitive with Elowen and her thoughts and feelings. How frequently Caden is having to reassure her that she is powerful, capable, strong, she's independent, she can do it, like she can do what she wants to do. It's been repeated so often that it feels a bit stale. She's constantly returning to these thoughts of self-doubt. She is feeling the pressure of so many people depending on her. I was hoping that with her character arc, she would be gaining more and more confidence, and so she would need less and less reassurance, but it's maintained the same way throughout the entire book. My next update will be when I finish. Very quick update, because I still have 80 pages left. I've gotten through the heist, and I'm not gonna spoil anything. For me, it just went by like so quickly. Like they were there for 5 seconds. I thought that it was gonna be really like high stakes, super high suspense, like really crazy. I thought that we were gonna be in that heist scene for like the majority of the rest of the book. And then I was hoping that it was gonna leave on like a cliffhanger, but we are through the heist. Lasted 1 chapter, maybe two chapters. But I was just expecting like more. And now we're getting a 1 bath and a 1 bed trope, and we've also had a 1 horse trope, so you won't catch me complaining, except with the heist, because like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm pretty disappointed. I wanted like a lot more from that scene than what it was. We're gonna keep reading. We have finished Fear the Flames, and I'm here for a final check-in, and I also wanted to go through how I annotated this book because I've been having a lot of fun with annotating lately, and so I figured I would just share what my method has been. I will include some clips, probably some overlay clips, while I go through how I annotated this book. So I had 5 tabs. I had the first one for banter, the second for anxiety representation, and I also included any PTSD moments in there as well because I thought it was fitting. Then I had quotes that have me punching the air. I will give some examples of such quotes. Careful, angel, you give a man a taste of salvation and he might keep coming back for more. Is that what I am to you, your salvation? If you are to be my damnation, it's an end I'll happily meet. Absolutely. Another one, scars are memories carved into our skin, but memories don't define who we are. And then this one just absolutely broke my heart, so I'm going to include it. You always tell me I'm stuck with you, but you're stuck with me too, soldier. He looks at me in disbelief, like he can't believe I'd choose him over a head start. It makes me wonder if anyone has ever chosen him. I'm so dead. They're so good. Okay, so that was 1 tab. Then I also did the spice be spicing and badassery because Elowen has some really badass moments in this book. So that was my tabbing convention. I didn't feel the need, even though this is a fantasy book, I didn't have any tabs on world building because the world building was very seamless. Typically with any type of fantasy book, I usually have a tab for world building just in case I need to flip back to something to remind myself of, oh, what was this point or topic? Didn't need it in this. It was, again, very smooth. Overall, I gave this book a 4-star. There were certain elements of the book that I've already hit on that impacted my reading experience a little bit. I loved the plot. I absolutely loved it. The only thing that I wished, especially in that heist moment, was that there was more suspense. I would say this book, I was anticipating with how the plot was laid out for us. There were moments I was really excited for that I thought we would spend more time in, but the majority of this book, we spent time getting to know our characters. I would actually describe this book as a very character-driven story, even though there is a lot that's going on with the plot. But where this is the first book in a series, I do think that this was a great starting point to have us as readers be very attached to the characters, to the friend group, to the dynamics. The tension was good, the banter was good between our love interests, and then towards the end, when we got our 2 scenes with the dragons, absolutely loved. My hope for this series going forward is that the next book will be more plot driven. I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. It's on Kindle Unlimited if you want to give it a try. Again, our book club, the Who Did This To book club, is linked in the description box below, along with all of my other socials, so you can catch me on there. I will catch you in the comments, and I will see you in my next one, friends. Bye!